We are live.
Hello and welcome back to Coach's Corner with Catch a Lift. I'm Tyler and I'm joined by Melissa this week as usual.
Hi, guys, welcome. This week we welcome and sit down with retired U.S. Army soldier, Master Sergeant Jimmy Blockett. Jimmy, welcome to the Coach's Corner. Let's start right off this week by having you tell our veterans and our guest listeners a bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, hello, listeners, and Tyler and Melissa. It's great to be here today. My journey started one day. I came from a school, and my mother met me at the door. And I walked in, and she had somebody sitting there waiting on me at the dinner table. He had what I found out later to be a contract to sign up to the U.S. Army. It was pretty tragic. Actually, he said, here, sign here, initial here. We'll see you in 6 months. And then my journey began. And
Ooh,
here we are.
that's a way to start.
Very, very fun.
So the army wasn't the plan for you. That just kind of happened.
Right. I didn't know what the plan was going to be. I was just working at McDonald's, doing my best, and my mother had other plans for me. Hey, it turned out to be great.
Can't really beat that. Uh, I wish mine would have been as straightforward as that, but a little bit more rocky. So, uh, ha- let's talk about that. You did what, 27 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So the better half of your life, essentially. How was that transition coming back out?
Well, the transition was more mentally demanding than physically demanding. I say that because leaving the op tempo of Fort Bragg and then relocating to United States Special Operations Command, it was like a big gym rat taking away your kettlebells and giving you a walker.
Oof.
So,
Yeah.
although the job was demanding, but basically you were locked away from all the enjoyable aspects of leading physical training, ruck marches, dealing with soldiers and their day-to-day lives, and every day was Groundhog's Day after that.
Wow.
And you got out in 2018, right, Jimmy?
Correct.
Okay, and so, you know, during that like 27 years, was fitness like a big part of your life or a passion? I mean, obviously, you had your daily PT and stuff like that that you were doing, but did you kind of look at fitness as more than that? Was it something that really did, burn a passion in you back then?
Well, yes, fitness. Being coming straight out of high school, you're physically fit, and going to the military right after that, you
Yeah.
more physically fit. But basically, that's my life has been fitness. So I've had a passion for being fit, so to stay in shape.
Yeah. And you went to like jump school and airborne school like later on in your career, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that and just kind of like making that jump literally for you?
Yes, I can. Actually, I was stationed in Fort Drum, New York. Not many people have been there, but if you're familiar with that, you don't have much to do but shovel snow, and you have little ones. So wife was like, we need to get out of here. So basically, our last two children were born in New York, and I was like, how can I get out of here? So I went to work, and I asked my supervisor, I said, how can I get out of here? And he said, jump out of aircraft. I said, sign me up. So they signed me up. I went to jump school, and then when I got back, they allowed me to go to aerosol school. And basically, I was 40 years old, so it was like this is kind of unheard of doing
That's
this late in
awesome.
life, but they allowed me to do it, and then I got to go. Was happy.
Yeah,
Wow.
totally. Totally.
I couldn't imagine air assault at 40. Like that's that's hell on the body right there. So let's uh let's kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what today's topic is. So you're really big into like redefining yourself, personal development, and from what I understand, you're pretty well rounded at it. Um, why do you think personal development is such an important thing to do throughout life?
Let's see. As far as the importance of personal development, you got to continuously work on your mental and physical aspects of your life, and try not to be stagnant. Because when you find yourself stagnant, you find yourself in those deep, dark places that we all try to avoid being service members. So my wife was actually the one who actually was in Catch a Lift program.
Hmm.
So she was in several other programs because she's also an Army veteran. And she we used to rub it in a little bit because I was still active duty. It was hard for me to get into these programs and go places and do things. And I would look at how she was working on her mental state and her physical state, and being active and whatnot. So as soon as I retired, I actually applied for Catch a Lift. And funny story, several weeks later, I get an email from David Liu, and I'm like, okay. And then later on in life, I'm talking to Melissa Liu. So this circle is just so great. So Catch a Lift has been a big part of my life as far as reading and being able to work with the band program, and it was great. It was phenomenal. And I got this card right here. It actually, when David put me in and said that the red band wasn't enough for him, he needs a green band. So, and it was like, we heard you were kicking butt, and here's this present, and that really burned a fire within me, and that also allowed me to want to redefine myself and that personal development, because the best option is to work on those two things so you don't find yourself backtracking and taking that weak way out.
Wow. So right now we're having a couple technical difficulties, so we'll just keep rolling through and just keep hammering away like it never happened.
Yep.
All right. So um, I think I don't know, the whole personal development thing is new to me, and it's new to a lot of people. I think right now with the whole fitness movement coming up in the last several years, and you know it seems like in the last several years everybody's been focusing on getting into fitness and working on their health. But in the last year and a half, 2 years, it seems like it's become more prevalent for people to start working on their self mentally, right? So I like the hardest thing that I always deal with, and I was talking to one of the other Cal veterans about this a couple days ago, was like when you just feel lost and there needs to be some personal development done, there needs to be a change, but you have no idea where to go. You have no idea what direction to move in, what needs to be fixed, how to change it. How do you get moving in that right direction?
Well, basically, we have mental specialists that we see within the VA.
Yeah.
They kind
Hmm.
of give you tidbits. A lot of people, they don't like to deal with mental hygiene, so they don't like to talk to professionals. But this is where you need to swallow your pride and actually go in and seek that mental help, and that can actually kickstart you in the right direction as far as what you need to do for your mental fitness.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that something too to kind of take note of that there. And once you say, Jimmy, though, that you need to be the one to go out and pursue that, to like to make those steps, and not just say you're going to do it, but actually follow through. And that was something that I think we all saw from you right away on the Kale team. Like when you came on, it was just like, holy cow, who's this Jimmy Blockett guy? You were so positive. You were so motivated. You wanted to motivate other veterans, and push them forward. So I think that's, definitely been a theme with you, which has really been cool to see, you know. Can you kind of expand on it a little more, like for veterans, sometimes even just kind of like starting, or even like if they know they've got to go someone like you, like a coach, like where do you where do you kind of come at it from a spot to meet a veteran where they're at, instead of, like, you should be here, you should be progressing at this rate, because we all want help, but it's hard to ask for that help and it's hard to receive it. How do you kind of approach that?
Well, Melissa, the first thing I do, I meet them where they're at in their current state of life, allowing them to just have a conversation. And while listening to their conversation, I can find cues that lead me to what they may be struggling with and what goals they would like to attain um, and on their journey. Uh, then I just make myself available um, as far as allowing them to do whatever they want to do and let them know that I'll be there on the journey with them to assist them along the pathway of this new journey. Basically, it's actually reinvent a new them is how I like to frame it. And they have to remember that the old person that they used to be is dead and gone, and they have to work on this new person that they have in front of them today when they look in the mirror. So that's going to make them stronger going forward.
You've described it to me before, Jimmy X, right? So, like,
Right.
or like a snake or something shedding that skin, or that phoenix, you get, the old you is gone.
Right.
And I think that's such a cool visual to kind of think about it too. And, we all can do that, continually reinvent ourselves. That's neat. So what do you tell to someone, something, and I've run up against this a lot of times, and you're trying to push forward through whatever it is, if it's, mental recovery, physical recovery, or both. And, the progress seemingly stops, or you just get to where you feel kind of stagnant and you don't really know what to do anymore. And so, it can be frustrating. Like, how do you move through those periods where it just seems kind of like maybe development isn't taking place?
Well, it's like moving in the right direction. Basically, I coin it as the Phoenix moment. That's when it's similar to hitting rock bottom. Basically, it's like when you try to the same result. What do we do? Do something different.
Yeah.
When you hit that wall, it's just time for you to sit back, reevaluate, and do something different. And that shake it up. Either go out and find a friend, or like phone a friend. Just get something that's going to get you fired up and going again. Me, when I would have to go to the VA and I would see all the veterans that are in there that can't move themselves, or someone's got to do stuff for them, that sets a fire under me, because I'm like, look, I still have my limbs that I do have, and I'm going to use them to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
So no excuses.
Right. So, like, how often do you think you should, like, take a step back and, like, reassess yourself, or do you think that varies person to person?
Well, I reassess myself daily. I think about the things that I did today, when tomorrow comes, and I say, did I do everything that I could do that day? What can I do better this day? So it's a lot of things that I work on, especially around the house. And that would be something that my wife needed me to do. I'm trying to basically sit back and say, okay, how can I do that? It goes in every aspect of life, whether it's working with your children, doing fitness, working with your spouse, all these things. You just have to sit there and reassess yourself time and time again.
Do you do it, Jimmy, like in a goal type of way at all, where you physically write things down that you want to see out of yourself, either in a week, a month, a year? Do you do any of that? Or, kind of, how do goals fit in this with you? I mean, it's all in the same general ballpark, but how does that look for you?
Well, I've been to a couple of different venues where they teach you goal setting, and they tell you, write things down. It'll help you. My memory's kind of bad. It's not like it used to be. I don't have that healthy memory. I'm constantly reminded of that. So yes, I write down goals. I jot down things that I need to do, and then I try to reach them. Small bits and chunks, not
Yeah.
something that, like lose 50 pounds in 2 weeks, which is not healthy for anyone. But
Yeah.
you know, you have,
Yeah.
you have
Sustainable, healthy,
One stepping
sustainable
stone.
goals. Yeah.
you can attain that. So yes,
Yeah, one stepping stone at a time for sure.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're setting your goals, what kind of are you focused mainly on like your fitness goals as moving forward, or do you set multiple goals for like relationship, fitness, diet, and all that?
right. Yes, I list down all the aspects in life that I need to get better at, and then I try to work toward them. Now, one day I may not get better at being a better husband, according to my wife, but I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
So, as far as fitness goes, I'll set a goal saying, "Hey, I want to do 150 push-ups, in like a minute and a half." So then I work at it.
Did it take you like did it take you a while to get to where you could do those honest self evaluations, where like you could literally write down and be honest with yourself, like I suck at this, and I need to fix myself.
Yes, being honest with yourself is very hard to do. It's easy to just pull the wool over people's eyes, but you can't pull the wool over your own self.
Yeah,
Yes, it is very brutal. You have to be brutally honest with yourself and actually put in the work.
yeah. I think that's one of the hardest things with to deal with is just like coming to terms and being able to tell yourself like, yep, I'm no good at this, and I need to fix it.
I,
Uh,
I think sometimes for me, because that is like, it's hard when you kind of do an after action on yourself, and you're, you know, going through and writing down the things that you need to improve. Like it's scary and it sucks, but sometimes I think you can almost get to a place where that gives you some peace, like for myself, like strong man. And when I started competing and when I started just the sport, I mean, you know, it was a lot and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know how to, pursue it right. But I'm like, okay, I do suck at this, but I'm going to get better. These are the things I'm not good at with it. This is where I struggle in my training. This is where I struggle in my nutrition. And so, took like, okay, I suck at this thing that I'm doing, figure out how to get better. And I think there's something freeing in that sometimes too. You're not going to start something and be perfect. You're not going to pick up a guitar and know how to play it, so there's something to be said for enjoying the process of sucking.
Yeah, and I think believing in yourself goes into that too. Like, I mean, you're never good at anything when you first started, but as long as you believe in yourself that you're going to get better at it, you're gonna stay with it. You know.
Yeah.
Leave to achieve.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Jimmy, I want to talk a bit about, the community where you live, and I'm going to call it kind of a fitness community that you've built because that's what it certainly looks like. Can you tell us a little bit about, your community and just kind of what you do, and getting people involved with fitness where you live?
My wife, she is doing a bikini competition. She woke up one morning and she was like, "Hey," flipped on the lights, like, "Get up, let's go." And I'm looking at her like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Yeah, let's go running." So she started on this journey back in July, and she's been killing it. So basically, that kind of put the fire in me, like, "Hey, I need to get more people involved with doing fitness around here because some people, you can look at them and tell, hey, you might need to do a little walking or a little something." So what I do is I get out there and I have a text thread that we fellas in my group here, and I say, "Hey, anybody want to go on a bike ride? Anybody want to run? You want to jog? You want to walk? What do you want to do? Let's do something." A couple of them have jumped on, and we've done a few bike rides.
That's awesome.
They progress and do some miles, and then some of them want to work out, so I go down there to work out with them. Hey, whatever you want to do, I want to do with you. You want to go golfing, whatever, anything that's going to get you moving and off the couch, eating your comfort food is what I try to do. So basically, a lot of people in the community have started to do things, and you see them. Then COVID hits, and everybody think they're about to die, so that helped.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, now
We do have one question.
they're
We
seeking
got
you
one
out.
question. Got one question from the queue, which talking back about like redefining who you are. The question is, Jimmy, how do you know who the new you is if you don't know who you are yet?
Well, if you don't know who you are, you're inventing the new you because it's like a blank slate. And now you're writing on this and you're basically setting the destiny. So that's how you figure out who the new person is. After you start jotting down these new things and going down this new path, you'll see the new you.
Yeah.
Basically, it's going to be someone who's mentally tough, physically tough again, and they can move forward throughout the obstacles of life. But first off, you have to be willing to want to do this for yourself. No one else can do it for you.
So you're essentially starting from ground zero to build yourself.
Yes, you can.
Not really, not really change yourself because you don't know who the hell that is.
Right.
So you're just writing out a new framework for who you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Well put.
It's pretty straightforward right there.
That is.
You know?
I think a lot of people and veterans especially, you can get tied up in a label or an injury, and you think that or you don't maybe think, but it's almost like that's what you become. You become that trauma or that injury. So I like what you said, Jimmy. Like, no, start today. Who you're gonna be. Write that down. Because no, you're not what you were yesterday or a year ago. I think that's a really important reminder for all of us.
Yeah, you don't have to be that.
Right. Yes, Tyler, you don't have to be.
I've been dealing with that for a couple years of like stuck in this thought of like, well, when you compete in a sport, like what people like refer to you as, everybody I've met in the last 4.5 or 5 years, well, they know me as, well, he's a strongman, like he's a strongman competitor, and I've been in this mix of like, well, I want to either mix sports or I want to change up sports. And it's hard to really start moving towards something else when you've always been identified as this one thing. So like, it's really easy to get stuck in that,
Yeah.
and figuring out how to break it is more difficult, I think, than not knowing what you are at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Let's talk a bit. Or what's that, Jimmy? No, go ahead.
I said, I just like to tell people, hey, get busy living or get busy dying. It's your choice. So
Absolutely. 100%, right? Yes.
Right. So when you wake up in the morning, before you utter your first word, you can make that conscious decision to say, I'm going to be better today.
Yeah. And I mean, it could come down to maybe just changing how you start your day out, I think I see that a lot myself, because like a lot of times I'll wake up and then you go right into dealing with stuff of the day, and then you're already irritated or whatever, and you ain't even been up 10 damn minutes.
Yeah.
And then you're starting the day pissed off. So it's like just a bit of a Marine Corps thing, but like,
kind of expanding on that a bit, Jimmy, what do you tell someone, or what advice would you have if, maybe you're dealing with a bad day that's unfortunately turned into a bad week or a bad couple weeks rolling into a month? What do you kind of tell someone to even reset out of that when you feel like you can't get out of a slump?
Like when you're stuck and not making progress?
Well, and not so much not making progress, but just, maybe it's a trauma anniversary. Something's happened that's, it's more than a bad day. It's rolled into a bad week or even a bad month, and so, and again, maybe you've been on your personal development journey, but that doesn't make you immune from, your recovery and just life and, a whole host of things. So, if you find yourself in a path, where it's a bad week turned into a bad month, what do you do there? How do you reset that, or what advice would you give?
Well, the advice I would give if someone is in that conundrum is to actually reach out to somebody who might have been there with you, whichever this anniversary is. Just like me, I have a very close friend. We were in a vehicle accident, and every year it brings back memories to him, and it's like we celebrate this anniversary. So I just tend to, I don't even be thinking about it, but I actually dial him up and I call him and say, you know what today is, right? And I'm like, no. And it's a trauma because he was driving, I was a passenger. So when you feel yourself like that, reach out to somebody who you can confide in. If you find a friend that you confide in, or a relative, someone that can help you, because you need to talk through it.
Yeah.
If you don't talk through it, then it's just gonna keep beating you down. And that's how I reset. Or I use a little meditation, or I just go in a closed room and read some scripture.
Yeah. No, I like that. Those are all really good ideas. Thank you. Why don't we switch up a little bit here, and let's talk about the band program, and let's talk about resistance bands, because Jimmy, you came in and you're kind of our band man now. When Jimmy came on the coaching team, he took over the band program. So Jimmy sees a ton of veterans come through Catch a Lift. Do you want to talk a little bit, Jimmy, just about your experience as a band coach, and tell our listeners why are resistance bands good and why should they be using them?
Well, let's see. I enjoyed the resistance band program when it came to me. It was a blessing because that just helped pick off my fitness. A lot of people look at resistance bands like, "Oh, this is not going to do anything," but if you use it properly, that band will get you high. Let me tell you, I have people about to cry because they're using this little 18, 25 pound band, and they just can't believe the benefits that you can get from using one. Um, I, like you said, Melissa, I see a lot of vets that come through the program, and a lot of them, they send me photos, or I see a video of them working out and putting in that effort. And it's a great thing being a coach to actually see something go through fruition with people. So I have a couple of the band members under my band that are close by. So I see them like when I walk by and they're in their gym and they're like, look, yeah, and
That's
I'm stretching.
awesome.
And
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, that's
and then
so cool.
so it's great. Yeah. You should use these bands because if you actually see power lifters actually doing powerlifting moves, if you look on the side of their racks, sometimes you'll see a band attached
Yeah.
to that, creating more attention for them. That time and attention is everything. So that resistance band gives you that eccentric and concentric at both spectrums. So it will definitely give you a workout. And if you don't believe it, you can call me, FaceTime me, whatever, and we can go and have a workout.
I know this is true. Jimmy
Yeah,
will get you on FaceTime for
yeah,
a workout. Yes.
I've I've definitely I've been broke off by some bands, and usually like I don't think I've ever done a full through and through workout with just a resistance band, but I've definitely used um like finishing accessory movements like with triceps and bands, and it's nasty. Like
Oh yeah.
it's almost like a, especially like talking with tricep extensions, finishing like an arm day or a pressing day, it hits the entire tricep, like all three heads. It feels like, and I don't think I've done any, not a cable movement or anything else that really does that. They're definitely underrated for what you can do with them. That's for sure.
They're so underrated and I think misunderstood, like Jimmy said. Like people get it and they're like, what am I going to do with this? They're like, they think they need a barbell or dumbbells right away. But no, and some things too, that I want to throw out there, like bands, you can be so creative with them. And if you have a couple bands, like you can attach, if you don't have a barbell but you want to do almost like a barbell type movement with the bands, get yourself a PVC pipe, from a Home Depot, Lowe's type of store, like a 1.5 inch PVC pipe. and you can anchor those bands to something and connect onto that PVC pipe, and you can do a lot of work like that. Again, the same thing. You can, stand on bands, get the PVC pipe in it. You could curl the band. So just because it's just a band too, or I don't know, go outside, find a big stick or a broom. There's so much you can do. And I think the thing about bands that's so cool is you're literally limited by your imagination. Do you agree with that, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, definitely. And then the nice care package when you join the band program that the Catch a Lift Fund sends to you, you get a door anchor and you can just go ham.
Everything. You can do everything with that anchor.
Yeah, and it's lightweight. You can travel with it, so you have no excuses about why you can't work out because you can't get to the gym. You don't need a gym. You have those bands that will be your gym.
Yeah.
I guarantee you can find a move that's gonna break you off.
So how many days do you do like you obviously work with bands a lot. So how often do you actually touch like free weights and do weighted resistance training?
Not so much. I'm the kind of person I'll go to the gym. I'm gonna be in there like 3 days hard a week, and then I'm off for a week. And I mean, my genetics kind of help me through this. It's not for everybody that can just go in and then go away and then come back and still look the same. I've been blessed that way, so I just thank the Lord. But I actually, I want to get big like you, Tyler. I want to be strongman big, but I just want to get big. So actually lift a little bit of weight.
I don't think you want to be heavy like me. Just carrying weight around sucks.
I was a 198 for the majority of my career, and I was kind of heavy for me. So now I don't have to do PT tests or none of that good stuff, no fitness, all that. So now I can just get big for no reason.
That's a great feeling to have, is not feeling limited by height and weight restrictions, especially when you're in shape. That was my biggest complaint about the Marine Corps was I was always in pretty damn good shape. I was always a high first class PFTer and maxed out like the combat fitness tests and stuff, and usually stronger than just about everybody in the unit that I was in. I know in Japan I was the second strongest guy in the regiment, and every time we had a height and weight, I got pulled into the first sergeant's office, and I got you need to watch yourself because you're 3% off from body fat, and at the time I had an 8-pack in Japan, and I was like, no, absolutely not, dude. I was like 20 pounds over my max, and it's just so restricting when you're trying to be an athlete, but you can't you can't grow to cut back down and stuff. Once you leave that, it's just like I could do whatever I want forever.
Right.
So yeah,
a nice freeing feeling.
Yeah. And now I'm like 256, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I was lighter. So yeah, it's not a bad thing, but I don't know. Risk and reward, I guess. So
oh, totally.
I need to get on the Jimmy Blockett train of resistance bands for a while and let all my joints recover.
It might be time for you, Tyler. Do a full band workout there with Jimmy. I like it.
Right now, one thing at a time. I'm trying this whole CrossFit thing out right now, and it's interesting. So it's pretty funny watching a fat kid try to do snatches and clean and jerks. So.
No, have that range of motion. I don't have the range of motion, so
yeah, same here. I got strongman shoulders and elbows and wrists, so pretty awkward looking. But
Jimmy, I want to toss a couple more band questions out for you too, because I know a lot of guys listening have bands too and use them. What's your favorite movement to do with a band, or do you have any favorite things you like to do with it?
I like to do a squat thruster combination.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, it looks nice on their faces
too. I'm thinking they don't think so, but that sounds good.
They definitely don't like that. And basically like a plank with the working the triceps. So you anchor it down and you get in the front leaning rest, or in the plank position, high plank,
Yep.
and then you just pull with one hand. You work it like that, and then you rotate, switch it up. Those are pretty good moves right there. Like
Had you
then
done
and pull apart.
Oh, I love band pull parts. Totally. Totally. Had you done much with bands, Jimmy, before like you came to Cal and the band program and everything? Had you done much with them?
No.
No.
Only thing was physical therapy, and that's not a real
Yeah.
band.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
yeah,
the
that
band tapes. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely not. So that right there, I was like, man, this is where it's at. I've
Yeah.
been sleeping on the bench,
Oh
not
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, it's easy to
Do you
sleep
ever
on 'em.
deal? How do you deal with like I use a band when I go into a competition. I use a band to warm up for like overhead presses. And the one thing that's really kept me away from messing with bands, like in a workout sense, is I can't stand like when you press with the band and you've got this weird like outward torsion because the band's wrapping around your hands. How do you change that, or is that just something you deal with?
Well, what you can do is like you talking PVC pipe, right?
Yeah.
Smooth the edges on you, just cut pieces, and you just like handles, so you can put it out there, and then basically it won't wrap around your hand. It'll still be on the outside of the PVC pipe, so you don't have that funky feeling you're talking about.
Right.
Nice.
Right.
So you just make PVC handles for it. That's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I've seen people, Tyler, if you have a set of like the fat grips to like shove on a barbell or
Oh,
something, shove
dude.
them on the
Yeah.
band too, just like that. Like if you've got one of them doing the same thing Jimmy's talking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That would definitely
so
work.
there is too, depending, because some people like with grip issues, it can become more of an issue, like what you're describing. And different companies make like an actual like handle type piece too. Again, like if you don't want to use PVC or fat grips, but again, it's that same idea, and it's giving a way for that hand to get on that band without it, you know, kind of torquing it around. But yeah, that's
Also, you uh, the pool noodles. So the pool noodles, you make it to work with your grip strength.
Oh,
So
oh, yeah.
easy,
That's like a extra large fat grip.
like it's
nice.
Yeah.
inexpensive. So you just cut it into how many pieces you want, and you use it. So
That's pretty ingenious right there. That's crazy to me. That do you predominantly train with bands and you don't really touch free weights a lot? That's as I mean, like looking at how you're built, it that tells a different story for sure.
well, it's a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, and 2 mile run like Herschel Walker. So it's all I do more body weight than weight.
Hmm.
I like that.
Boy,
And
what I
so
wouldn't give for those genetics.
when you're doing your body weight stuff, Jimmy, and I'm talking now if you're not using a band, just straight body weight, what's kind of some techniques that veterans or our listeners can do to, make just body weight movements a little more challenging?
Well, let's see. As far as your push-up goes, elevate your feet. I like to do elevated push-ups, like put my feet as high as I can, basically going into a handstand. Because if you can do handstand push-ups, you can just pretty much do just about anything. And I like to do. So I look at a couple of guys on YouTube, and they do all the calisthenics. So very difficult movements. A muscle up for me is like not happening. But if you can get that form down, and most CrossFitters they get it because they know how to kick really good, and they can do that. But putting the weight on your back. But I like as far as making push-ups more challenging, I use the band because
Okay.
I put the band across my back through my hands, and I do the push-ups that way. But body weight, if you can do your body weight, that's the best thing you need to work with, and then you progress from there. Because when you hit that plateau, you just got to go back down and start something different, and you add to it. And plus, I have a 30-pound weight vest, and I put that on. And if I go run, I'll run 4 miles with that on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, weight vests definitely help out a lot with that.
what's kind of just real quick here, Jimmy, What's a typical day? Like, what's a typical day of training look like from you? Because I know, again, a lot of times you're doing multiple sessions in a day. What's it look like a day of training for Jimmy?
Let's see, the day of training for me, I'll get up in the morning, first thing, take my vitamins, and then probably go run 6 to 8 miles. And after
What?
that, let me tell you a little story behind this. When I was in the service, I would say I hate running, but then one
Oh yeah.
day I, I changed my mindset and said I see a lot of people that can't run, like physically can't run, whether they're missing limbs or whatever the case is. I said, I, I'm going to say that I don't like running, but I'm going to enjoy it because I can. I still have the capabilities to actually do it. So that was changing my mindset. And that just said, I woke up in November, like this last November, and I jumped up and ran 8 miles
That's
out the
awesome.
gate, like no practice, no nothing.
Whew.
So I go out and I'll run. And I actually ran a half marathon one morning just because I've never done it. So it was one of those goals. So I went and did it. Then I'll
Very
come back.
cool.
I'll eat some breakfast later on in the day, train some people who were wanting to do whatever training is, and then I might go in there and do some legs. I got bigger legs from my mother said I got chicken legs, so try to do a little bit of that and working on squats and all that good stuff.
And you've
How long
been
did it take you to run the half marathon?
It's like 2 hours, a little under 2.5 hours.
Oh my
good
god.
grief, Jimmy. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I need some new shoes. I believe I would run faster if I had better shoes.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
And
I could not imagine that.
you've gotten into
Ugh.
doing some Pilates too, right? Like you'll do Pilates core work and stuff, I know too.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, when I wake up in the morning, first thing to do, I go in and get my vitamins. Or use the bathroom, wash your hands, and then I go in my closet. I read my scripture. Right now, I'm reading all the way through Psalms. So I read a Psalm or two, and then I actually do a Pilates ab workout.
Okay.
It's about 4.5, 5 minutes. And then after I do that, I'm practicing headstand. So that's what I'm doing now. So
That's what
now
you're working on now, headstands? Oof.
I can do a headstand with my hands like this and my head on the floor. First, it was put your hands here, and I progressed from there to actually here. So maybe I'll go into the handstand next.
That's awesome. Jeez. Very cool.
No.
Very cool. Good.
That's insane, man. Like, so you're actually like, are you resting your body weight on your head? Were you
Yes,
doing that?
yes. I mean, if you're doing it with the grip like this, you're gripping around your head,
Yeah, yeah.
using your arms to kind of support it. But
But
you have
you're working a progression to just your head,
yes.
essentially. Jesus. No.
Oof.
Man, that's insane, dude.
That
Like,
is insane.
course,
That's
how strong does your neck have to be to support your body?
Have to be pretty strong.
Like, that's
One
crazy,
one
dude.
hand, if I can lift one hand up, that'll be cool. But I don't know. It's all about the abs. So you get a strong core, it'll help you out.
yeah,
Wow, that's intense.
that
Like,
is.
I don't think I'd ever get there. I don't care how big my neck is. Like,
I probably won't get there either because you have neck damage. But I try not to limit myself
it's
with injuries.
it's just crazy to me because, like, so they had handstand push-ups were in the workout the other day, and um for like a split second I rested my head on the floor, in the bottom of the press, and that hurt like hell. Like, I couldn't imagine trying to do a headstand and just like most of my body weight being on my head. That's intense, man. It's pretty impressive.
That's very
I know.
impressive. So, in our YouTube comments, they say that you are a Renaissance man, Jimmy. I agree. I agree. Good stuff.
Just starting new things. How? So I got one more question on the personal development thing. Since like most personal development journeys, or however you want to call it, that's a personal thing. That's a solo. You have to make your progress with it and figure everything out and move yourself along that. However, through whatever you're doing, usually you have help from somebody else or other people in some form or fashion. So how could an individual help another individual through their personal development journey?
Well, basically, this is what Cal does with all the Cal coaches. We help them through their personal development journeys. But first, they have to be willing to trust you or me as a coach. And once you build that trust bond, then the sky's the limit as far as how you can help somebody. But they have to let their guard down just enough to let you in. And once they do, your personality is infectious. Like I say, I'm infectious. If they get to that phone one time, and they're going to be locked in for life. Basically, you have to be genuine with what you're talking about and how you're trying to guide them along, and not just try to feed them a line of crap.
Mm-hmm.
And like what my veterans that I'm working with, I speak to them like every other day or every day, and then I have them in the app. And now Cal, we have our own fitness app, so we're definitely going to be able to grab more people and help them through their personal growth development stages in this new life that they're trying to build. So,
biggest thing is to be a genuine, honest, positive influence. That's what that sounds like.
hey,
Probably what people should be, all the time. But so,
but no, that.
But hey, it's 2020, so
That is though, and you're right though, Jimmy. I think that's a terrific message though to kind of end with and put back out to our veterans and the entire Cal staff and Cal coaching team. They are there. So reach out to the coaches, reach out to your battle buddy. Jimmy did a really good job of reminding us all of that today. That you got to take that step, ask for help if you need it, and start redefining that new you.
So, can I say something first?
Oh, absolutely.
Send it.
Awesome. I just want to say I praise God for my beautiful wife and my daughters and my amazing grandson. I want to thank them for the support they've given me throughout the years and the support that they continue to give me, because that's going to help me be the better me, the reinventing my new self. Also want to say thanks to Catch a Lift Fund. It's an awesome organization. I want to, without all those things and other organizations out there that I'm part of, I would be struggling to find purpose. And I want to thank you all for that. And to my fellow Cal coaches, thank you for everything that you have done and what you will do in the future. And thanks to the Catch a Lift community. And I want to send a special thanks to our esteemed founder, Lynn Coughlin. Thank you, Lynn.
Awesome, man.
Thanks,
and
Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy, for being on and being an asset to the team. We've only met through video calls a couple times, but I've not heard anything less than remarkable comments about you. So thanks for being a part of it and working the way you do and actually giving a damn about people, because that's few and far between these days. But as for this week, I think that's it. And we'll see you back next week with another Coach's Corner.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in again. And remember, Coach's Corner is not a one-way conversation. Feel free to leave your comments in the comment box. Comment on the show post on Instagram, Facebook. Any veteran members are welcome to join Jimmy, Tyler, and I after the show here. Simply leave your email in the YouTube chat box, and we'll send y'all an invite to get on with us.
And last but not least, special thanks go out to everybody. Lynn sends special thanks and for your positivity and your spirit, Jimmy. And huge shout out thanks to ID Technologies for their support for Catch a Lift in this show and everything that they do. All the Cal supporters, thank you, Lynn and Henry. Thank you, Melissa, for running the background, and to all the staff. Also, don't forget we've got big things coming, like Jimmy and Melissa mentioned. We have an app coming for the veterans where it's just going to integrate and upgrade all the training and tracking for all the veterans, and that's we couldn't do stuff like that without the support of the viewers and companies like ID Tech helping us out all along the way and believing in the mission that we have. So thank you to everybody, and until next week, stay Cal strong.
Keep it real, guys.